whole battery of archers is gonna really mess some orcs up, which is...
Yeah, of course. Now, these are elves. I love elves, by the way, just putting it out there. From a medieval perspective, they are not pulling enough for power. A professional archer in the medieval period, if a captain of them would see them do this, they would be reprimanded. You have to pull all the way back to your ear to generate as much, like maximize the penetrative power and range of a bow. And I'm covering the image.
Which is what's happening there. I can't see the types of arrow points they're using, but I see in a lot of films people using broadheads and shooting at armor, and that wouldn't work.
Maybe that's a bodkin, honestly. Look, it's kind of thin. Maybe it is a bodkin.
There were certain arrow points that were designed to go straight through armor, like a bodkin. It's pointy, but it's bulbous and it's stiffer, and it was designed to kind of punch through armor.
Mostly mail, though. Even a bodkin is going to have a hard time punching through high-quality steel plate. It's not going to go through. But it can go through mail. It can go through, imagine like the side of a visor, or areas where maybe the armor is compromised.
But, you know, I'll give him that. When you got some big orc dude with a stick coming at you, you're not always going to get a chance to set and make the perfect shot.
Absolutely. I mean, this could be applied in actual warfare as well in the Middle Ages. Now, given, again, someone who is experienced, that has muscle memory, I think we'll have a higher chance to do things properly and correctly from a body mechanic perspective, because that's second nature to a professional. With that being said, panic, or even if it's not panic, in this case it's Legolas, so he is like super guy. But still, it can happen that in the midst of the situation, maybe you don't have great footing and so your form is not perfect. I think that would have happened in the real Middle Ages too.
But in order to speed shoot to that kind of level, you'd need a pretty light poundage bow. I'm going to go 4, but it's cool.
Man, 4, but it's cool. So what happens when it's not cool? -7? I love Legolas.
If I use a quiver, I tend to use a back quiver. It gives you a nice low profile. Quivers you tend to either wear on your hip or your side or your back. Yeah. When you're in the woods, you tend to want to keep a sort of fairly slim profile. So a back quiver is quite useful.
I think in a battlefield situation, you could also just stick the arrows on the ground, like right next to you, and you just pick them up. But that's what I would do, I think, if I were, not that I am an archer, but I'm saying if I had to imagine being an archer in a medieval battle, probably that's what I would do.
Arrows do make a noise when you shoot them, but they don't quite make a noise like you expect them to, unless you use something called a flu-flu, which is an arrow with really big feathers on the end. The noise that they make is so satisfying. Now, he's got this weird grip on the string. He's got the arrow on the left side of the bow, I think, and he's holding the string like that, which isn't what you do. If you really wanted to hold the string upside down, you'd need the arrow on the right side of the bow. I imagine that's more of an aesthetic thing than anything. Maybe
just to give the idea that it's an orc. So, like, they are rough, they are tough, they don't care about form. Maybe that's what they're trying to, that's why they went for, like, now do it this way. So it makes it look like it's different from how humans and elves do it. Maybe that could be a way to interpret it. And I imagine it being an orc. If I had orcs, battalions of orcs that I could use on a battlefield, I would give them the, like, 200 pounds bows. Because, I mean, maybe more, depending on how much stronger an orc is. First, I would test it with a human and an elf, and let's see who is the strongest, and then what that difference is. And once you calculate that, you use it to create a type of bow that only an orc can use, and then we get that power. Maybe even, I don't know, something like that. You can hear as he draws up, you can hear the bow creaking. Now, this is a trope, and that's when the bow comes up to full draw, you hear it creak. Bows don't creak. If your bow's creaking when you come up to full draw, it's probably going to explode on you. But the art... That's very good. I didn't know that. Tree's a little bit all over the shop. I'm going to go 6. Okay, so one thing, not that I'm an expert on rating, but just as a former teacher, as a former school teacher, if you make this face, it's below 5. Okay, I'm just saying. This face means below 5, because 5 is like, not bad, not good. 5 is like, meh, didn't leave a mark, but I didn't hate it. So that would be a 5. If you make for a 6, it means to that you have liked something about it, because it's above what you would consider just average, I'm going to forget about it the next day. So a 6 does not make this face. This face should be a 3 or a 4, in my opinion.
I'm going to get some hate in the comments for that one, but I love Lord of the Rings, so don't come for me.
Me too.
Hi, I'm Shane Adams, the owner of the Knights of Valor, full contact jousting company. I've been jousting for well over 25 years. So I have 20 international jousting championships under my belt.